welcome to my first ever video. I will be making today a sample in interlocking crochet to show you how the technique is worked. It is basically 2 layers of filet crochet which are worked at the same time, and you interlock some stitches to the front, some stitches to the back in order to show a pattern. This is what the back looks like. We're going to go through the process of starting a project, how to start. It's very simple. It looks scary, but it's very straightforward. We're going to be working the different stitches, how you have some stitches with spaces in between and some stitches that do not. We're going to be working with color changes. What do you do to change colors? And then at the end, I'll show you how I made the border. The border can be done in many different ways. Like you see, the colors are not carried. And we're going to go through the detail of that. To work today, I'm going to be using my Astrid's Christmas Tangle Potholder pattern, which is here. And I hope that by the end of this little tutorial, you all enjoy interlocking crochet a lot more. Now I changed my setting because for the life of me I cannot crochet on a table, so I have to always crochet on my lap, on my knee. For this potholder today, I'm choosing 3 colors. This is Shepius Katorna. It's 527 Midnight for the A color. And the B color, which is the background and the light bulb, will be done the background in white, the light bulb in red. When I say A and B color, is because every row in the pattern has an A row and a B row. 2A, 2B, 3A, 3B, and so forth. Because in interlocking crochet, you make 1 row with the A color. Some people call it the main color. And 1 row right after in the same direction with a B color, which is also called a contrast color. Then you turn your work around, you make 2A and then 2B before turning your work around 1 more time. My pattern is on a stand and I'm going to get some blue, and the first line it says chain 54. I don't think I need to show you how to chain, so I will meet you at the end of chain 54. I have now made my 54 chains with blue, and it says start in the 6th chain from the hook, make a DC, chain 1, and so I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, make a DC. This is more difficult than I thought. I have to look at the screen to make sure I'm centered and look at my work to make the stitch properly. That's a DC and a chain 1. Skip 1. Skip this one. Make a DC in the next one. And that's how you do the whole starting row. Chain 1. This is why I work on my lap. I hold it with my finger. And you can continue the rest of the row. I am now reaching the end of the row, making a DC, chain 1, and the last DC is in the very first chain. I'm going to chain 3, and I'll get back to why I chain 3 in a second. I wanted to tell you, when you start a blanket, this, which is called the trellis, can be quite long. And you may chain up to 300, 350 chains, and sometimes lose count or are not very sure. you can always chain a lot more, 5 more, 10 more, 15 more, and then you make all these DCs. This is called a window, a little square. The pattern will always tell you how many windows you need to have. So when you have enough windows, you can always undo the rest of the chain. It's a way of not coming to the end and figuring out you lack 3 chains or something. Every row starts with chain 3. I always make the 3 chains at the end of a row instead of at the beginning of next. I'm going to get back to why I do it like that a little bit later on. The pattern says I have to have 25 windows. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 2, 3, 4, 5. I have 25 windows, and that's my row 1A. For row 1B, I'm going to get white, and it says chain 52, which you can do on your own. I just made 52 white chains, and this is a little bit tricky, but it's very easy if you just follow. You have to make, in theory it says place your chain over the trellis, but believe me, it's going to be very difficult to do the stitches making sure the white chain is over the blue trellis. I have to go through from back to front through the second window to make a DC. So I yarn over, I send my window through my hook through the second window, and to be honest, I disregard the blue. Once I have my hook through, I kind of don't pay attention to the blue. On the 6th chain from the hook on the white chain, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, there I will make a DC from the back. So I have sent my needle through the chain, I pull it to the back, pick up a loop, complete my DC in the back of the chain, and chain 1. I'm going to make a few of these, so it's difficult to see in the first one clearly, and the first 2 or 3 to be honest. So you see what I have here? I have, oops, that's crooked. My blue trellis, my chain, a DC from the back on the second window. I chained 1. Now I'm going to make another one. Yarn over, go through the third window in the original chain, skip 1, and in the next chain send to the back of the blue, pick up a loop, yarn over through 2, yarn over through 2, chain 1. That's what I'm going to do the whole row. I'm going to be doing a few with you. Yarn over through the hole, skip 1, pull to the back, finish the DC in the back. Yarn over through the window, pick up a chain to the back, this is what an interlocking crochet is called, a DC in the back. And according to the pattern, you do 23 in a row, which is going to be until the second to last window, and I will work it until here and we will do the end together. I did, I think, 21 DCs in the back, and I'm reaching the end, so I'm doing my 22nd. And my 23rd. Those are all done in the back. And the next stitch is a DC in the front, which is much simpler. In the front, that means without pulling to the back. See what I'm doing? And I'm chaining 3, which is for the start of the next row, and I will be getting back soon to why I do it there and not when starting the next row. What I like to do is grab this white tail, send it through the window, and you start to see a blue frame and a white smaller frame. That's what it looks like. And I'm going to turn my work around. That was row 1A and row 1B finished. I have turned my work around. And at the beginning, it's cumbersome with so many tails. So I get the 2 tails from the chain, which I'm not going to be needing again. And I tie them in a little knot. Just to get them out of the way. And I have my blue and my white. Now, the second column of the pattern indicates where the B color should hang. Sorry, there is a phone somewhere over there. That is important because whether this B hangs to the front or to the back, it will affect how the border will look like. So each pattern will indicate you if the B color should hang to the front or to the back when you start an A row. So starting to A, it says that white should hang to the back. That means, and that is why I made the chain 3 at the end of the row, because it's a lot easier to see where it's going to hang. That is the B color hanging to the back. If it had set to the front, I would have to do this, and the B color would be hanging to the front as I work my A row. That's the difference. But it's hanging to the back. Yeah, too many yarn bits here. There it is, hanging to the back. Row 2A says start with back 1, front 1. So you already know the DC in the back. All the blue stitches will go on the blue DCs. Yarn over. This is where the chain 3 stands for a stitch. This is the next DC. You go from the back. Oops. And make a DC in the back and chain 1. That's a DC in the back. Now it calls for front 1. So, front. I need to make it in this stitch, but I do not want to do this so that my blue yarn grabs the white one. So I have to get it out to the front. I'm going to do it again. Yarn over, grab the DC where I'm going to put the stitch, bring it to the front, and finish my DC in the front. Chain 1. Now it says 2 in the back on a row. One in the back, chain 1, the second in the back, chain 1. And look what's happening here. You're starting to make some kind of a drawing. When we're working on the even number rows, 2, 4, 6, and 8, we see the back of the work. When you're working on 1, 3, 5, and all the odd numbered rows, you see the front of the work. So now I made 2 in the back. I have to make 19 in the front. One, 2, and that's 19 in the back. In the front. 19 in the front. I'm going to do back 1. You see where I did it? And all the A rows do not end with a back or a front, they end with a DC. That is because the A rows, the A color, the blue color, is a little bit larger than the white color, so there's no way of doing back or front here. The last DC does not go in a chain, it goes in the window, anywhere in the window. I make my DC and then I will chain 3 for the start of the next row and put my marker. These eventually get all squared and nice on the sides. So that is my row 2A. I do not turn my work around because I have to work my row 2B, which remember the white had lied to the back, so it's there. And I have to do back 2. That's my first stitch, right? We have the chain 3 and my first stitch in the back, back 2, then I have to do front 1. I make sure not to grab the other color. I get only my white color and make front 1. And now I have to do 21 in the back. I'll catch you at the end. Here I did 19. My 20th is going in there. And the very last one, because you have a chain there and not a DC stitch, like in the A rows, the very last one goes inside the window. Anywhere inside the window. I chain 3 for the start of the next row. Now that I completed 2A and 2B, I can turn my work around and you see what it looks like. That is row 1A and 2A. 1A, 2A, 1B and 2B.